Sarah stood up first. I think it's time for me to go. It might rain soon. She didn't look at him. Sarah, I'm fine. You should go too. Madhuma would be looking for you, she said as she ran out. And that was the last time he saw Sarah for a while. He did try to contact her, but then she avoided him, telling him that Rani was sick and she had to take care of her. He knew she was avoiding him. He was ready to wait, even if it hurt him. And then it happened. Rani died. When his grandma had told him the news, he felt weak. They had went to visit her one last time. His eyes searched desperately for Sarah, and then he saw her. She sat there, hunched up, her eyes void of any emotions. Sarah had now lost the one person who cared for her the most. He and his grandmother had decided to stay back and help with the funeral. While he was arranging chairs for the people, he noticed a man he had never seen before. He looked very drunk and held a bottle in his hands. The man looked back at him. "What's it, boy? Do you want to celebrate that old hag's death too?" he said and laughed. He felt anger simmering through him. Before he could do anything, he was stopped by Ravi. "Don't," he had said. "A fight is the last thing she needs now." He had calmed down. "That's her father," Ravi continued. He never cared about her or her family, and once in a while when he did come, it was either for the money or to abuse them. And now he is the only family she has left. That poor thing. She patted him and walked away. This? This trash of a man was her father? How was he supposed to leave her alone with him? After the funeral, his grandmother was getting ready to leave. "Sarah, are you sure you want to stay here? Don't be stranger. You know you can always stay at ours." His grandmother was worried. She shook her head and smiled. She then looked at him. "Sarah," she waved her hands before he could complete, as in a goodbye. But he knew it was in a "you should leave now" way. It was almost dinner time. He was still feeling restless. Was it okay to leave her alone with him? Should he have stayed with her? Had she eaten anything? Questions were clouding his mind. "Money, will you take these to her? I don't think she has eaten yet, and I'm scared to leave her with that man." It seemed as if his grandmother had read his mind. He knocked twice at the door. There was no response, and it scared him. Before he could knock again, Sarah opened the door. And she looked terrible. Her eyes red, her usually well-braided hair now a mess, and there was a huge scar in her forearms. "What happened to you?" He grabbed her hand. She shook him off and tried to close the door. "Sarah, please stop avoiding me. Grandma is so worried about you. I'm so worried about you. So please, just leave me alone," she had screamed. He stood stunned on realization. There was no more hiding it. Sarah, she sounded like a boy. When Sarah realized what had happened, she looked at him with shocked eyes and hid her face in regret. No, this is why I was avoiding you. I couldn't hide it anymore. I didn't want you to hate me too. Please, I will never appear before you again. Please don't hate me, please." She looked so broken. He couldn't do anything but hug her. "I won't, so please stop crying. Please don't cry." She stayed in his arms till the tears dried. When he felt she was better, he convinced her to eat the food, and then later, after much persistence, she agreed to stay at his grandma's for the night. His grandmother hugged her when they arrived. They sat under the fire lamp as grandmother oiled Sarah's hair, slowly unwinding the mess. It was pouring outside. His grandmother had started singing, a hand sliding over Sarah's hair. It was a famous folk song, thanking the goddess of rain for the unexpected rains, blessing their crops and land. But today it felt as if the goddess herself was crying with them. His grandma twisted small jasmine buds onto Sarah's braids. Unable to maintain her composure, Sarah started weeping. His grandmother rubbed her back to comfort her and continued braiding her long hair. It looked like a painting, a very sad, heartbreaking, but beautiful painting. The next day, Sarah cut her hair. He had tried his best to convince her to stay with them, but when she said she really had to go and that she was fine, he had to let her go, with the promise that she'd come back if there was a problem. The boys of the village had invited him to play cricket with them. He was not in the mood, so he promised he'll watch the match. They were all gathered at the ground for the match. The game had begun. The boys were all immersed in the game, but his mind was somewhere else. That's why he didn't notice that they had halted the game. Is that really Sarah? He was brought back to reality with her name. He walked towards where everyone had crowded. He first noticed the drunk man, Sarah's father. What was he doing here? He had thought. And then he saw the person behind him, and his heart fell. Wearing nothing but a banyan and shorts, her hair cut extremely short, stood Sarah. She looked so different, but he knew it was her. See, now this is how my son should look like. Sebastian, now be a man and play with other men, he shouted at a visibly shaken Sarah. She was desperately trying to cover her torso. He walked towards her and put his coat around her. Sarah, let's move away from here. Wait. Where are you taking my son, boy? The man laughed. And who the hell is Sarah? That's just a stupid name my stupid wife had gave. Father, stop. Sarah stopped him. I need to talk with him. I promise I'll come back to you. As you wish, son. He laughed again. He had to control his urge to punch him. Sarah led him away from the ground. What is it you want? She looked at him furious. Why are you letting him do this to you? She turned her face away from him. He's my father and he knows what is the best for me. And I should stop with the act too. So should you. Her last words. I know you were hurt. And how do you, a city boy who'd go back in a few days, know me better than my own father? She screamed at him in anger. Tears were rolling down his eyes. When Sarah noticed them, she grabbed his face. Please don't cry. I promise, I'm fine. Just don't cry. Money, I need you to forget Sarah. She's dead to me. It might be tough in the beginning, but my father likes him. So should I. So please don't cry for me. I don't deserve it. It seemed like she might cry too. She gave him one last hug. I need to go. Please get home safe, Sebastian told him before running away. He was shattered. He was going back tomorrow. Is this how it ends? He didn't want to. He knew he had to do something. He knew he had to do it quick. That night, he knocked at her door again. There was no response yet again. But he knew Sarah was hearing him. Sarah, please open the door. This may be the last time I get to see you, so please. Sarah opened the door gently. My father is sleeping, so please tell it quickly. She couldn't meet his eyes. He held her hands. She looked at him. I might be some city boy who might leave soon, but I do know that I care for you and I know you don't want this. Run away with me. He was blabbering now. Where to? How long are we gonna run away? This is my reality. As much as I hate it, we can't keep doing this. I don't know. But please, anyway, just away from this, away from your father. This is the last thing I'll ask from you. His voice was breaking. She looked at his eyes for a moment, grabbed his hands and started running. He didn't know where they were running to. He trusted her and he wanted her to feel the same too. They ran and ran and ran, covered with sweat and gasping for air, but never letting go of the hands. And then, all of a sudden, she stopped. We are here, she said with a smile. It was an abandoned temple. Lay down with me for a while, she had asked. As he lay his head on the cold floor, he noticed the sky. He had never seen such a beautiful sky, filled with millions of stars. I occasionally come here for stargazing, even if it's a bit far, she had said. They remained in a peaceful silence before Sarah spoke again. Do you want to know what I wish for at the well? What? Paradise. He looked at her with a concern. When she noticed, she laughed again. No, silly, I'm not gonna die. I meant a paradise on earth. He sighed in relief. What's your paradise? He asked, now curious. My paradise is somewhere everyone feels safe, at home, where they can freely be themselves and still be loved. My paradise will welcome you for who you are, not for what others want you to be. He looked at the stars again. Do you think a paradise like that exists? I don't know, she answered, but I'll definitely find it. Sarah sat up. He sat up along with her. They smiled at each other. I just want you to know that I'll be fine, so don't be scared of leaving. I don't need you to protect me. I'll do that myself. I just need you to wait for me at the end, at my paradise, to pat me at the back and tell me that I did well. She had tears in her eyes. Okay, I'll wait. He smiled between the tears. I found the kids. They heard voices coming closer to them, the light from the torches shining at their faces. I won't run anymore, so promise me you'll meet me at my paradise, she shouted as they were pulled apart by the villagers. I will, I promise you, I will. Money, where do you disappear to every once in a while? Dan had shaken him to reality. Nothing, I was just memories and stuff. To which she rolled her eyes. I guess we have to cancel the parade this year, cause the nature won't. Dan sighed. That's enough, he heard Maya before she ran out to the cafe doors into the rain. She cupped her mouth before screaming. Dan, all these homophobes, the stupid society, your stupid father, nothing could stop us, love. So why would you think some stupid rain could do so? Dan started to laugh. God, I really do love her. He heard a whisper before running to the rain. The girlfriends kissed each other and started laughing and dancing together. The rain no more a hindrance to their happiness. And then he noticed that the cafe crowd had also started joining them in the rain, singing and dancing. The rainbow flags now on full display, waving with pride. The parade is on! Dan screamed, supported by cheers and screams. The protesters, though, were too cowardly to do the same. Some even seemed impressed with their willpower, and some others dancing to their beats, because all it takes to beat homophobia are some good moves. Thanks for the tea. I should be joining them, he said before handing his mug to the waitress. And that's when he noticed it. In black bold letters near the mug's brim was written Paradise. How couldn't he notice it? The Mysore Park, now Paradise? Please let it be true. What's the park's secret ingredient? As I told you, I'm not telling you our trades. Please, this is urgent. I need to know. He shook her shoulders. A bit perplexed, she replied, I don't know. The owner said it was her grandma's recipe. His heart was beating uncontrollably. He felt he might fall down. Where is she? He gathered enough strength to ask. She also owns the boutique 2 blocks away, so she might be. He ran out before she could complete the sentence. He ran to find out his paradise, their paradise. The rain had ceased, a huge rainbow decorated the sky, and then there it was, standing loud and proud in front of him. Welcome to paradise, read the board. The boutique was surrounded by bougainvillea, rose, and wines of jasmine. His hand was sweating. What if it was just some coincidence? He took a deep breath before deciding to open the door. He heard the chimes of the bell, and then the rest of the world was blur. His eyes were stuck at this one beautiful girl, now just a bit taller. She was giving a small rose bouquet to a little girl. Long hair braided with buds of jasmine, the same shining eyes, the same smile he adored so much. They didn't need to run anymore. They were finally at paradise. It took her a moment before noticing the panting man at the door. Can I help you, sir? She looked at him, a bit amused. He could do nothing else but smile. We finally meet at your paradise. I kept my promise, Sarah. He couldn't stop smiling. And Sarah, she looked at him, mouth wide open. And then she started laughing. She was laughing at him. Oh, how he missed those wonderful sounds. She looked at him, the same smile he fell in love all those years ago. Yeah, we finally did.